East Palestine is known as the place to be. It's way ahead of the curve on a program to provide better treatment for anyone in the event of an emergency. I learned how it works and how it could help everyone in East Palestine. My ID provides quick medical information for emergency responders. Darlene Chapman is the outreach coordinator for this project, and she's an EMT.
If they're in a situation where they can't tell us or they don't have any family around, this is something that would make my life easier.
My ID works by taking a camera phone and pointing it at a QR code. It provides valuable medical information such as allergies, breathing difficulties, or other conditions, so you get proper treatment and care.
If anybody sees the QR code, you'll be able to scan this and get the information. So it helps that person, not necessarily just here, but anywhere in the nation.
Is setting up a clinic for residents to get evaluated, and a team of medical personnel and toxicologists from the HHS and the CDC are expected to arrive as early as Monday. Phil?
One person that has been on the scene ever since this started on Friday is the commander in charge of the Mahoning County Hazardous Materials Response Team, and he was still on the scene today. He caught up with our first new senior reporter, Jerry Ricciuti. He talked with him about the situation and what he's been going through as he's been here.
Steve Sakely was one of the first responders on the scene of Friday's derailment, arriving soon after East Palestine firefighters.
The only way I can describe it is like the doors of hell were open. I mean, it was hot and the flames were shooting up in the air at least 100 feet.
As we came to learn later, there were highly flammable materials on board, but no manifest readily available.
We didn't know what chemicals were, but once on scene, you can smell it in the air that there was something.
Sakely says the images of a half-mile-long trail of fire actually were of burning material pouring out of one of the tank cars and moving toward the front of the train, until Sakely and a partner were able to stop it from advancing any further.
When Sakely first arrived, he was on a tanker with the Springfield Fire Department, dealing with a fire scene that was active and getting worse by the moment. But after several hours, he left, only to return Saturday morning, but now he was Mahoning County's hazmat chief.
So they spent all day Saturday there, monitoring the air and helping whatever way they can. We went up going back down Sunday.
That was when experts realized the internal temperature of one of the 5 tank cars carrying vinyl chloride was becoming unstable, causing fears of a catastrophic explosion. It was decided to blow holes in all 5 cars with explosives and burn off the material.
That was the worst case scenario for this type of chemical. So that's like the last thing that they can do.
Following the release of the material, many have complained about smelling chemicals to the north in Mahoning and Trumbull counties. Teams and equipment have been monitoring the air quality ever since, and the readings have been safe. Sakely calls the experience a once-in-a-lifetime event. Jerry Ricciuti, WKBN 27 First News.
From a gentleman who was at the town hall meeting, who says he was told by the Ohio EPA Norfolk Southern did bury contaminated soil under their replacement rails. Their plan now is to put in French drains to let whatever might leach off when it rains this afternoon and collect that. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked this question. This is maybe the most important thing that I can say on the cleanup. So what I've heard from multiple people is that the accident happened, and by Tuesday there were replacement rails. So this is the day after the controlled burn. I believe the controlled burn was on Monday. So on Tuesday, there were replacement rails allowing trains to run through that area. You cannot dig out and clean up an area if it's covered by railroad tracks and there are trains going over it. So the fact that they replaced the rails, I think, suggests they're much more focused in reopening the railway than in cleaning up this community. That's a big, big problem, and it's something we're going to take to Norfolk Southern, frankly, as soon as we leave this meeting.
3 more chemicals that were on board the Norfolk Southern train that derailed here in East Palestine just over a week ago. And we're being told that some of those chemicals are dangerous.
We basically nuked a town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency sent a letter to Norfolk Southern stating that ethylene glycol monobutyl ether, ethylhexyl-acrylate, and isobutylene were also in the rail cars that were derailed, breached, or on fire. Caggiano says ethylhexyl-acrylate is especially worrisome. He says it's a carcinogen, and contact with it can cause burning and irritation in the skin and eyes. Breathing it in can irritate the nose, throat, and cause coughing and shortness of breath. Isobutylene is also known to cause dizziness and drowsiness when inhaled.
I was kind of surprised that when they quickly told the people they can go back home, but then said if they feel like they want their homes tested, they can have them tested. I would have far rather they did all the testing.
Caggiano says it's possible some of these chemicals could still be present in homes and on objects until you clean them thoroughly.
There's a lot of what ifs, and we're going to be looking at this thing 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line and wondering, gee, cancer clusters could pop up, well water could go bad.
Caggiano recommends anyone who's in the East Palestine area get a health checkup. He says get a record now of where your health stands so that moving forward you'll have documentation of any possibly related effects to the train derailment.
Once again, would you move? As I'm going to throw another rock right here. Would you stay here? Would you drink that water? Would you be affiliated with this? Would you bathe your kids when it's bubbling up and looking like an oil slick?
Hey guys, so I'm here at Leslie Run, and there's dead worms and dead fish all throughout this water. Something I just discovered is that if you scrape the creek bed, it's like chemical is coming out of the ground. Can you come here and let me just show this to people. I don't know if you're going to see this on camera, but watch this. Just see that chemical pop out of the creek. This is disgusting. And the fact that we have not cleaned up the train crash, the fact that these chemicals are still seeping in the ground is an insult to the people who live in East Palestine. Do not forget these people. We've got to keep applying pressure. That's how we're going to fix this problem. Thank you.
Wow.
Look at all that.
Look at it.
It's all in the bottom of the creek bed. Now look at it.